Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Tyler's Coffee Talks. I'm very honored to have a guest. Today is Cece, and she's going to talk a little bit about how she, has essentially what would you call it? I mean, it's kind of like dating for professionals, right?
Well, I mean, we hate to say we're professionals, but at dating, but it's a singles network. It's called Going Solo Network.
Yeah,
And our website is goingsolonetwork.com, where everything is on there that we do. And so what we try to do is really connect singles. So they really kind of embrace the life that they're living, embrace the moments that they have, and sharing that with other people, other like-minded individuals. And so
right.
we started a whole lot of different aspects of it. We have, the divorce and relationship loss, transition into dating. We have a travelers group, which is seems to be very hot right now, going solo travelers. And we have the dating, which is,
Right.
meet the right one on dating next step.
Yeah, people
So,
don't really realize that it's really kind of overseen in a business setting. You know, personal relationships are not usually kind of intermingled or intertwined in business proceedings or business development. But there is actually a lot of segue there. If you don't have your right better half, you kind of feel lost going through this world, and it's very interesting to have you know all the success or all the business or all the you know a lot of very very successful people are lost because they made all their money, but they don't really know how to share it with their better half, and they can't really find their better half. And on top of that, a lot of people have had, like yourself, really bad experiences with people that you thought were the right fit.
well, what happens is when you go through an opportunity, a time like that in your life. I want to say it's an opportunity because it is the next step in your life is an opportunity for you. But sometimes you're clouded because you're going through a relationship loss, and you start questioning and doubting yourself. And that takes it into business, right?
Right.
Even into business. And so here's the thing, it's like it's really trying to find a balance and being more centered within your own core, within in your own environment, to be able to, move into the next maybe quarter of your life, and moving forward into what you want your life to be. And the reality is that seniors today, those are in the latter part of their lives are so different than what they were, years ago, right? Being the new, what they're saying, like the 50 is the new almost 30, right?
Right.
And people are living longer, they're experiencing more things, they're able to share more things. And so to be able to connect with other people that kind of get where you're at, and also where you want to be, is really a very inspiring thing.
No, it is. It's funny because my girlfriend of going on 10 years, which people go, wait, that's not your wife, and it's not even that we want to get married or not want to get married. It's that we have this belief, I guess, is that we don't want to have the government in our hands, in our personal life. If we're going to be together, we're going to be together, and that's our decision. And I think a lot of people are going towards that now. I don't think a lot of marriages is really happening because there's too much legal ramifications of signing that piece of paper in that contract. And so I think that, in my opinion, especially with my age group, we're seeing a lot of people being with life partners, but not really wife.
They haven't made that commitment to be married, is
Right.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, the world is changing, and what we're finding more and more is that you can still have a committed relationship without having that piece of paper, that document. And so to stay together because that's truly what you want to do versus what you have to do is sometimes better, right? I think Goldie Hawn, they did that in their marriage. And they didn't get married and not even married today and have a very happy marriage. But they've gone through the ups and downs just like everyone else
Sure.
as they experience, relationships.
Sure. Well, and relationships are very interesting in that it takes forever to build it, and it takes one single situation to destroy it. Like a good segue or a good thought is money, right? So it takes a lot of time, effort, energy, um, success in a weird essence of does money cause success, or does success have money, right? So when people say I'm successful, usually in our day and age, we have that correlation with income. But there's a lot of people out there that are successful that are not financially successful. They're emotionally and physically successful. And then you have a lot of people that are financially successful, but then also they're not emotionally or physically successful. And I think a good work balance is really what is important to, in my opinion, to everyone that is looking for unity or the perfect enlightenment. I don't really have the word for it, but I think what a lot of people are doing is they're not making the opportunity to have a successful overall relationship, and that includes a physical relationship, but it also includes a financial relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And from me, I can't say I have both all the time, but I'm striving to make it so that I have both on a regular basis. In every relationship, you're gonna have your ups and downs. The reality, though, is you need to have more ups, and that's really what I tell people, off air is if you're going to have a T chart and you're going to put a tally on everything that's negative and a tally on everything that's positive, you should be 2 for 1 on the positive. And if you're not, then the decision's probably not a good idea to go forward with.
Yeah. Tyler, I think what we're striving for as I'm thinking as you're talking is that I think we're striving for a life balance, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
we're striving for all the elements within our life to be important, but what we have to really focus on is us. And so often we move forward and we're thinking about finance and we're thinking about business, we're thinking about our relationship, we're thinking about all this stuff, but we don't bring it back to the center of us. And then we become unhappy because we haven't focused on ourselves and what's important to us. And so if we continue to bring it back to us as individuals as to what makes us happy, what we are striving for, what is the connections we truly want in our life, and make those are really our driving force, the people around us will feel the happiness that we have inside, and that will create happiness around. And so, that's kind of the motto we kind of go with is really get centered in what it is that's really good for you so that you can bring that forward in your life.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. It's a good point, and it's always you know a work in practice, right? So we don't have the opportunity to build something without practicing it. And the more you practice, the better you become at it. And I think that's also with a relationship. If you're in a relationship for a long time and it's not making you happy or not making you fulfilled, it's going to show in your work. It's going to show in your health. It's going to show in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of don't see the for every action there's a reaction aspect, but it's absolutely true. And you need to make sure that every time that you're waking up and you're getting ready for work and the day ahead, that you already have created enough sustainability and substance and stability inside your personal life to make that a more successful and more prosperous business relationship.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think it does. Like again, if you're not happy, it folds into all of all the crevices around your world, right? And it's not going to you're not going to be successful and or feel you're successful at work, even if you are bringing in the money that you want to bring in. You're still not going to you're going to feel like there's still something missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and a lot of us, I think, in today's world is kind of feeling that. And so I think with the virus, it's made us slow down a little bit, made us rethink about what is important in our lives. I mean, it really created a scare for everyone to think, okay, is this really what my life is about? And do I really want it to be like this? And so, yeah, I think definitely we are all evaluating our lives and trying to determine where can we move forward to really be who we really are meant to be,
Right.
because so often we're in that hamster wheel, right? And we're just going in the hamster wheel doing what we're told maybe we should have done, or we've gone to school. How many people go to college and they don't actually finish doing the career that they started with, right? They because their passions have led them somewhere else, hopefully, or they're stuck in a job that they're not happy with.
Right. Um, and that kind of is a segue to my next topic, and to the listeners out there, is time is so much more precious than money. I've gotten to the point where I can be quote unquote considered rude or disrespectful, but it's because I don't have time. Seriously, it's not a joke. It's really, I'm not trying to be a difficult person, um, but I think more and more successful people are getting kind of put into a category of, self-centered and, narcissistic. And it's not. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. It's just we realize that time is finite, and we need to use our time as how we would like. If you don't use your time to your best advantage, then you'll lose it. And I definitely was raised as, respect, uh, you know, if you don't have nothing bad to say, don't say anything at all. And I truly agree with that. But on the other hand, I have been in, especially when I go to events, um, I have to be very condescending at times so that I can move on. And you probably have that same situation at some point where you go, this guy or this girl is totally wasting my time. And I just can't handle this. Like, I'm sorry. I do not have time to talk to you about something that doesn't interest me or have any value to me. And again, that sounds very, very condescending and selfish, but I want to get your viewpoint on that, because I'm sure you've had a lot of, empty dates and promises and empty people that you're just like, oh my God.
Well, we have to have priorities in our life, right? We have
Right.
to know what's really truly good for us. And so there's a couple points I wanted to make. One is I see a great deal of divorces in the latter part of marriages. They've been together for like 30, 40 years and they're getting a divorce. A lot of it is because the guy has worked very hard, very successful, really bringing in the money, created that security, but he lost the connection of his family, and
Right.
he lost the connection of his wife, right? He lost it. They've grown apart from each other, and so now they're in the latter part of their years. They're looking at each other as strangers, like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've lost that spark that they had at the beginning and created. So you see a great deal of that. when you're talking about dating and time, yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm in the latter part of my life and I don't want to waste my time being with somebody that is not the right connection for me.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person for that. It's just they're not right for me.
Right.
And that means that I'm not right for them, right? And so there's nothing wrong with going on a date and finding out that you don't have the right connection, that you can't just walk away and be friends with each other, say, hey, you're a great person, you're just not my person. And so
Right.
you want to move on from life. You're doing somebody a favor when you do that. If you're
Right.
not, you can be friendly, you can be nice, you
And
don't have to be rude.
yeah.
um,
And I'll
but you
tell
have to
you,
know what you're looking for.
one thing that really and I really do strongly wish society as a whole would take this on more. Unfortunately, I think we're going the opposite way of, we have to have a full conversation about why we're not interested instead of saying, I'm sorry, I'm just not interested. And that bluntness in business to me is very, very, very important. Um, I can't tell you how many times I've had, telemarketers call me and they're trying to sell me this and that. And I say, hey, look, man, I'll tell you right now, I'm not interested. So you can just take me off your list. You can stop calling me. It doesn't benefit you or me. I'm not going to buy from you. Does that sound rude?
Well, you could do the flip, Tyler. You could say, hey, wait a minute, I've got something I want to sell you, and you are going to sell them the cup of coffee. and
Right,
and if they're
right,
not interested, then
right.
don't call me.
Yeah. No, I that's a very valid point. But I can tell you we've had grocery stores that haven't given us a response in 6 months. Come on, tell us yes or no. It's not. I don't like living in this gray area, and I
Yeah.
think that has a lot of relationship carryover. Is there's a lot of people that feel bad to let someone down, and I guess maybe I'm a different breed or something, but for me, it's like I'd rather have a binary yes or no than maybe.
I think it's our personalities, right? I'd rather have a no and,
Yeah.
and move on,
Yeah.
you know, but I can maybe take your no and turn it to a yes if I know it's a no. But if it's a
Yep.
gray, then I'm thinking, is it a maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Question marks for sure. So what's one thing that really um I guess represent? What's something that you can say, yeah, I plant my flag on that?
I'm sorry, what I didn't
What,
hear.
what's something that you can really represent? Like, what's something that's unique to you? And I like to ask this about my guests: is like, what makes you so special? What makes you different? What makes you stand out from the norm?
Well, I think for us, and I speak for the Going Solo Network, which I represent.
Right.
I think what makes us stand out is that we're human, and we understand that. We understand that life changes, and sometimes we don't always change as quickly as the life changes, right? And so we feel sometimes that, when you're single, you're kind of on an island.
Yeah.
And people don't quite understand everything that you're going through, all the different emotions that you're going through, all the different transactions that you have to go through, all of that. And I think because of that, that's where the connection is with us. It's truly is a connection. And when you connect with our site of the Going Solo Network, the media, everything that we do, you truly get an understanding that you're not alone. And there are many people out there that feel and are going through the same thing you're going through. So why not we, bond together, lift each other up, and move us into the life that we want to live and into the individual we want to be, because we're
Right.
making that transition as we go. So I think that's what makes us very special, very unique, because there's no other company out there that's doing that, no other business that is truly dealing with the emotional side of the individual, and then allowing them to grow and develop into what they want to be, what they want to become, who they want to connect with,
Right.
that type of arena.
So the interesting thing is like I haven't been single for a long time, but I can remember being single, and in the beginning, you're right, you're on an island. And then like halfway through getting over your old relationship and seeing what's out there, you're kind of in paradise, right? You can do what you want, you can see who you want, you can walk around how you want, I mean, you're free essentially. And then when you become again with another individual, it's it's exciting and it's great, but you also lose a lot of those freedoms. And I'm not saying it's bad, it's good. I'm just stating facts. And it's interesting. It's kind of like, when you have partners in business, um, that's the equivalent of being in a relationship, but it's, obviously different aspects
Yeah.
to a
You have to
relationship.
start, you go from thinking about yourself to thinking about someone else,
Right.
and living your life with someone else and making that transition. So that's it's true. I mean, I just had a conversation with someone about that, and he said to me, he says, well, it's hard to deal with the drama. And I said, what do you mean drama? He goes, well, women are about drama. And I said, yeah, but is drama not excitement? I mean,
Hmm.
is it drama in a negative sense, or is it drama in, excitement? You could become alive when you're with that person. And I think it was the latter, that you become alive with the person. It's really changing your environment. If you're single and you've fallen into, and we hear this a lot, you fall into like this, I don't want to say it's a rut, because it's something that, but you fall in a life that you just do these same things over and over again, right?
Right.
You maybe take someone out and go to dinner or whatever, but you're not really making that connection with someone. But to make that connection with someone that's right for you is, and even friends, making connections with friends, that's the ultimate. Being able to spend your time with people you actually enjoy being with versus by yourself. I mean, you can go play golf, but you still go home by yourself, you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
and we don't always want to go home by ourselves,
Hmm.
or you at least want to have them you wake up in the morning, you don't want a surprise. So,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. I get it. It's an interesting topic because we don't usually have this on the show. We usually are just like business oriented and like, but I enjoy the topic. I think it's a unique topic to talk about because it's truth. Like every business owner has a relationship that's good or bad on the back end. And I know if I have a bad day with my girlfriend, I'm going to have a bad day at work. I know if I have a good day with my girlfriend, I'm going to have a good day at work. So there's a lot of correlation. And it's uh it's really interesting how that works out.
yeah, Tyler, think about it. You're working hard, you make all of this money. Don't you want somebody that'll help you spend it?
No. I can answer that very, very quickly and easily. No. The answer is no. N-O.
Oh, shoot.
I'll be more than happy to spend my own money. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I could talk to you about business. I mean, developing our business, the Going Solo Network has been, we've been doing this for quite a long time, and it's evolved as we've continued. And if we're going to look at it from a business standpoint, it's very important to keep that creative aspect in your business,
Right.
in your mind's mind, to be able to move forward into what's happening. Like, I've been in, like, it's nice to see you here have a show, but I've been on the internet. I've had a show for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and before internet wasn't even popular. Now everybody's flocking to the internet to be able to go on.
Right.
And so it's
Well,
it's
it's
you.
funny you bring that up because this show that I started is by popular demand. It's not by my own doing. It's not like I got on. I got up one day and I was like, "Hey, you know what? Why don't I start a podcast? Because everyone else is doing it." I was on, and I want to say it's definitely over 100 podcasts now, and there was this overwhelming, I guess, question of, "Hey, you have a podcast, right?" And I said, "No." They're like, "You don't have a podcast? What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, you're such an interesting guest, and you've done a lot in your life, and you're super smart, and da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay, well, thank you." And probably by like I don't know the 20th person that said, "Hey, you have a podcast?" I was like, "All right, that's it." I'm gonna have a podcast because apparently people enjoy hearing my what I have to say. I look at it this way. I look at it as, you know, for example, Joe Rogan, who I listen to, who is the biggest podcaster in the world, like 40 million followers. Um, he has some really, really interesting people on, and he has some really, really good conversations. And those conversations he has personally, but when he realized that he could share this with the world, um, he's giving us a gift. And I think anyone that has a podcast should be sharing. I don't think anyone should be, you know, talking about themselves or saying how great I am. And I mean, my story is really simple. I started the company at 14 years old, and now I'm over $1 million year over year. Okay. And what I really want to know, what I really want to find out is interesting people that I can have on my show that I can give value to the listeners. I want people to understand that there's so many intelligent people in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what my podcast is about. And also another thing that I really like talking about is failure, because no one talks about it. I've listened to so many business podcasts, and they're like, "Oh, let's stroke each other's egos for half an hour and see where it goes." But I'm the one that's, where have you stumbled? Where have you not been successful? And actually, it would be a great time to segue into that. So tell me something like, I don't know. For example, you were making an event, and the event planner didn't show up, and the balloons weren't filled, and no one showed up at your event, and it was raining, and then a hurricane came through. I mean, I'm saying like the worst case scenarios, and the reason why I like to hear that is because I want to know how people overcome such a horrible situation. I mean, I've had so many bad things happen to me in business, that I tell people that Murphy is on speed dial. Like him and I are really, really, really close.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of things. I mean, we've had events and stuff like that where, it's rained and,
Yeah.
various different things like that. I mean, as far as like the radio goes or the podcasting goes, we went into the video. We're all doing video now. And I don't know if I shared this with you one time, but I they were doing some work behind me and they knocked over the light, and then I was videoing in the dark. So there it was. I
Nice.
was completely in the dark, and I'm talking, and I know that it goes into a podcast, so I got to just keep on going, right? So I
Wow.
just kept on talking, and I was in the dark then the guy was crawling around underneath trying to get the light back up again, and trying to get that figured out. So we did that. I mean, there's a lot of funny things like
Right.
that
Right.
happen,
Right. So
with
that's
guests.
a
And
good takeaway is always persevere.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I had
Yeah.
an article written about me, and it's in my local paper, but it was a good article in that the way it was written, it was necessity of tenacity. And obviously I got interviewed, and that was it. But the editor said, I want this to be the headline, the necessity of tenacity. And when I read, I was like, my God, that is a perfect headline, because every business owner has to have the necessity of tenacity. We have to be so tenacious to a point of honestly fault. And I tell people, if you want to get into business by yourself and you want to start something without seed round capital, without investors, without, having a freight train of resources behind you, it's the equivalent of jumping off the highest mountain and trying to assemble an airplane on the way down. You're always behind the ball and building. And that's the thing that I did. I mean, when I took my career at 14 years old, I mean, I didn't really know what I was creating. It was kind of, to be honest with you, it was kind of just a joke and to see if this was going to be an idea. And the more and more I did it, the more and more success I got out of it. The more and more I got interested in it. The more and more I mean, I had a lot of career opportunities that I wanted to do. And I'll say the number one thing that has kept me tenacious is honestly helping people drink coffee again that can't drink coffee. And I know that you are kind of the same way in that you want to help people become the best they can be and to find their quote unquote soulmate. It's really hard to say that because you never know. Like everyone thinks the grass is greener on the other side. I mean, everyone. There's no. You could be married for 20 years and not have a single problem, and the thought will come across your head. It's impossible not to. But yeah, for the most part, it's been a wild ride, just like you have, and that's great that you just kept going. Just roll with the
Yeah.
punches, right? Just
True.
keep it rolling.
It's really about the journey, and someone told me that too recently about a life is about the journey,
Yeah,
and to really enjoy the moments that you have in those. And I think both your show and our shows that we do, and even our websites, it's really about being authentic
yeah,
and really being real with yourself and real with other people, and sharing a glimpse of who you really are. And so, if you really truly want a connection, that's what you have to do. And I think that if we want to have a successful show, we have to share, a part of ourselves. We have to be authentic.
right, right.
Mhm.
Good. I love it. Well, thank you so much for the time, and I hope our listeners got some value out of it.